All right, now we're in episode 22 of LEGO Marvel Avengers, the second of three parts for our look here at the level involving Thor 2, The Dark World. Now, last time we cleared out the entryway. We escaped from the prison. We cleared out the entryway to get here using Sif to clear out the courtyard, and lo and behold, here we are with more stuff to destroy. Now, there is lots of stuff to destroy in this room for studs, and to be honest, if you're not going to use any multipliers with your studs, you have to destroy it all. So that's one of the reasons that this level drags out, and one of the reasons that it took so long, because if you want to destroy every little thing and get every little stud, you have to knock these rotating things 3 or 4 times, depending on which one you're dealing with, in order to get all the studs. And there are 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of those things hanging around the level. So we are going to do what we do, and that is milk studs out of everything. Right at the moment. So, we're going to have Thor smashing things with Mjolnir, throwing Mjolnir around, targeting things. We don't have any characters capable of shooting the flames, otherwise we would be able to get into Hogan's character token there. Hogan, of course, the member of, and losing that blue stud will not help. Hogan, of course, the one member of the group of 3 fighters that hangs out with Thor that we don't have. So we end up over here, where we're going to break some more stuff. You can see some objects glowing on the left-hand side that we're going to need to take advantage of those too. But now I'm using Thor's ability to shoot electricity at distance with Mjolnir when he's charged. And you can see that's not necessarily doing a heck of a lot to these Dark Elves. It's always sort of interesting to bounce around through these sort of different mythical worlds. I mean, Dark Elves here in Thor's world are obviously bad. But, the Dark Elves in a world like Skyrim could be bad or good. And in Morrowind, of course, you had to help out the Dark Elves. So, it's just different worlds looking at different things differently. Okay, so now we have something to build. And you can see it taking shape around this cart surface, but I'm still running around looking for studs. And of course, as you noticed before, I can destroy these rotating wheel things. So here we go. Alright, so now we have a few more bricks to play with. And you can see that we're definitely building some sort of cart objects down here at the bottom. Getting closer and closer to having all the pieces we need to complete that object. You know, you can see more free play items that we can't really access right now. That time I broke the studs and they all caught on top of that black object, which I could in theory fly up to, and in fact that's what I do. But you can see that for all the work we've done so far on stud collecting, we are still so far away from getting max studs for this level. We don't have anybody who can sort of do the little Avengers detection stuff over here, so we have to leave that alone and go back to building our object. Okay, there's some more of it. And it turns out it's a battering ram, and so the 4 characters are going to batter our way through that door and after Malekith. This will end this part of the mini level and send us into a big fight against Kurse and his forces, where we have to side with Loki in order to complete the mission. So we're going to jump into that. Now, since Loki's around, you know, there will certainly be puzzles where Loki's specific power set is needed. Loki, after all, is... I mean, he's got his... Actually, he doesn't have his scepter, so I guess he can't... maybe he can't create ice, but he can still... he does still have psychic and telekinetic abilities. And that's going to be important because we're going to need to move around the map and use those to unearth objects that are going to allow us to fight Kurse, who is the mini-boss of this stage. Right, so we're going to build this thing right here. And it's something. Again, we're going to leave it alone for the moment so we can go studs hunting. And again, we're going to run into the same problem where the game will just constantly keep respawning Dark Elves. And so, you know, the ability to keep our own studs intact is going to be called into question. I'm going to go ahead and milk some studs. Okay, obviously this item is important later because we can't destroy it. Got Loki doing whatever Loki does. Trying to use Thor's distance attack. Again, like any distance attack, it's not as effective as just hitting somebody with Thor's hammer. But I also don't want to get just overwhelmed by Dark Elves. I'm still trying to break this thing, even though I can't break it. You see him down to just a heart there. I got another heart. Now I'm using Thor's hammer as a laser of sorts. And now for the first time I'm changed over to Loki, because, to be honest, I just wanted to see what Loki did without his scepter. I was not a real big fan of this level's aesthetics. I mean, it's clearly a forbidding warscape. So here Loki uses his telekinetic powers to bring up this statue, and the statue at the base of it has something for Thor's hammer to destroy. So that's gives us our next clue as to what we need to do. And then, of course, because I've been taking damage this whole way through, lose Loki, and lose more studs, and I'm just not real thrilled about that. I'm going to try to clear off all the Dark Elves before turning things back over to Thor. Okay, trying to line Thor up with that crack. Not as easy as it appears, but, and then go grab some extra studs. Alright, so then we shoot the Loki statue at Kurse, hit him in his head, and now we can progress a little bit further into the level. There are two more items that we need Loki's telekinesis to dig. Using a shovel that we will create. And there's Kurse looking ominous, and an eclipse of some object over there, and of course more Dark Elves getting dropped in. And then here's where the warp tries to suck us in, sort of like Galactus tried to do in LEGO Marvel Superheroes.
I wish I could trust you.
Just... And there's something else for us to build, courtesy of debris falling from the sky. And there it is. You'll recognize it as a shovel and a pail. So what we need Loki to take control of the said shovel. And now meteors are flying at us. Okay, so Loki's going to dig up the first item in the pail. And we're not done with the shovel yet. Alright, we're now finally over at 100,000 in studs. So we can go ahead and dig with the shovel again. This time moving that object, creating more stuff that we can destroy. And now I've broken the pail. There is a purple stud there, and I do want that. Let's see if I can go grab it. There we go. So that was a help, and now we can build the second object with the shovel. Notice the shovel is still there, still blinking, so we have at least one more go with the shovel. And we lose our final heart again, and I keep trying to get to where I can build with these pieces, but they're not bouncing, so it occurs to me that maybe I need something else. So we go back to the shovel, and for the third time, we dig up something with the shovel. That is the last thing we need here. We're going to break this item over here, and then finally we can build the thing that we've been setting up this whole time. And an item that's going to be just a little bit more frustrating than the other ways to hit Kurse. So So we'll use Loki's telekinetic powers to build this spaceship over here. But for us to use this spaceship as a missile, we need Thor to charge it. Now this is similar to what happened when we were Iron Man on the level where we were trying to fix the helicarrier. To access that spot, we have to be either in the air or some distance on the ground. If we're in the air, then we have to target the lock instead of just doing an ordinary, automatic B button kind of thing. And if we're down on the ground, then we have to be at an angle, again, that we're far enough away. So you see, it's saying X, but what we need to do is we have to target it and then hit X, and then it will charge. And you're going to see that we don't do that very quickly or easily, and we're going to die and lose some studs a couple of times trying to make this work. Okay, so also the meteors are going to knock you out of the sky, so that's kind of a problem. So, I'm having trouble making this work. So I decided to land onto the ground. Of course, I'm dead. Okay, go and kill some dark elves because it's just time to do that. More meteors. Okay, so now I'm trying to target. But the thing that I need to do first is I need to fire the hammer like a laser if I want to do it that way. It's going to take me a little while to figure that out. And in the meantime, there are plenty of dark elves who are going to ask for my attention. I don't really need to deal with any. I don't really want to deal with any of these guys. Alright, so again, I'm going to try. I land on the ship, and it actually gives me a V button indicator, which is something that I wanted. The problem is I'm at an odd angle, and you can't charge it without being right in front of it in some way. So here I'm trying to land on top of the spaceship, and then I finally understand that it wants me to use the laser feature. So I get far enough away, and I'm able to charge it up. And then we fire the spaceship at Kurse, hitting him for the second time. And this brings in the quick time event mini boss fight between Kurse and Thor. And of course these, you know how these end. And so I will catch back up with you next time when we go to London to finally end this level. See you then.